Mickeymouse. The Marines are looking for a few good men. Unfortunately, you ain't it.
Regardless of what type of ad campaign the Marine Corps does produce, you'll never, ever, ever top this one.
Sure, the United States Marine Reserve teaches you a lot, like how to take a beachhead, how to defend yourself. And did you know some Marines even get to drive tanks? Oh yes, after the 6-month training period, your weekend duty is always close to home. And like all good Marines, you're always on the ready. Think about joining up with the United States Marine Corps Reserve. We're looking for a few good men.
What is up, gang? Short timer prepping here. Now, yesterday I did a video on the Army's new recruiting ad, seeing how the Army is not exactly reaching its recruiting goals, which, by the way, were 60,000 back in 2022, and of course they only recruited 44,000. However, the United States Marine Corps, my branch, they actually were able to exceed their numbers that they were looking for. Now, guys, the United States Marine Corps is normally kept at a very, very small level. Me personally, I wish that they would actually try to recruit more Marines, try to have a force of right around 250 to 300,000 U.S. Marines, but right now that might seem a little bit unrealistic. Now, guys, I'm not doing this right here because I think that there's a problem with the way the Marine Corps is going about the whole ad campaign. I didn't really see a problem with their previous ads, but many people have accused them of wokeness. But then again, though, maybe I should probably go back and look at them further. However, at the same time, though, we're in a situation where you've got about 2/3 of the men in this country that are single, at least those of a certain age, and it could be a crisis in the near future, which, by the way, seeing how you just had a bank pretty much crash, and right now we're expecting bailouts, we're expecting more banks to eventually crash. We've got massive levels of inflation. We could be having a situation where a lot of dudes are not going to have anything to do except maybe join the military. However, we have a problem with the current pool of potential recruits, and I think I've discussed that on multiple occasions. Now, guys, right now I am playing for you in the cutaway, the ad that they released, I think, back in 2019. I think what the Marines were doing at this point in time was I think they were trying to take advantage of something that had came out back in 2013. If you guys recall the video game Call of Duty Ghost, mostly people regard that being one of the worst games in the franchise, even though I thought the story was great, but the multiplayer was horrible. This looks eerily similar to what they were doing in that game in the opening credits. Now, granted, that was 2013. This ad, I want to say, came out 2018 or 19. I'm not entirely sure. If you guys know more, please leave it in the comment section. The thing you have to understand is that ads are very important. A certain type of ad is going to attract a certain type of person. Now, I'm pretty sure that some of you guys, if we really and truly want to go old school as far as ads, especially when I grew up, you guys are probably seeing one. I'm an old hat, by the way. I was born in the 80s. You're seeing the chess ad. I figure I would throw that in here. Now, many people regard the chess ad as probably one of the worst ads that the Marine Corps ever had, even though I think it's probably, looking back on it, pretty freaking cool. But the tagline has always been, the few, the proud, the Marines. Now, guys, before I show you the new ad and kind of review it, I want to go ahead and let you guys know that after this ad plays, we're going to talk about it, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to explain to you guys the ad that ultimately got me. And newsflash, even though I joined in November 2003, it was not the ad of the Marines slaying the dragon. It was not that one there. But let's go ahead and roll this new ad and let's talk about it.
The future is threatened by enemies often unrelenting.
Marines, get these people out of here.
It's gonna be all right.
Unexpected and unpredictable.
Stay alert, Marines.
In the midst of an uncertain and evolving world, the need for Marines to defeat these shifting threats is critical.
Enemy drone down.
Because the need to ensure stability for our nation has never been greater.
Sending coordinates now.
Target acquired.
When there are battles to win for America's future, there is one constant: Marines.
I don't think it's the Marine Corps' finest work. I don't think it's their finest ad. However, seeing a bunch of birds come up in the sky and then all of a sudden turn into drones or whatnot kind of gives you an idea of the threats that we may be facing. Now, The idea of the United States Marine Corps, let's just go ahead and say the tagline outside the few and the proud, the thing is this right here. It's about being able to challenge people, giving people an actual challenge. And as I explained in the video that the Army recruiting ad was going for, there still is a group of patriotic Americans who will more than likely want to join. They probably don't want to join under this president. However, if you have a market crash or if you have a situation where the economy completely falls apart, the moderate to more conservative leaning young people are probably going to want to join the military. Okay, I'm just going to throw that out there because if there aren't that many jobs, you're going to need to have jobs lining up, especially considering the fact that we have threats from China. Right now, we have an administration that's completely bungling what's going on with Ukraine. I personally would have never gotten involved. I would have made NATO take the lead on that one, but obviously they did not want to do that because, once again, not America's tax obligation, obviously loves to suck off the United States. Fact of the matter is that we're going to need to be recruiting men here in the near future. As a matter of fact, I would also argue that there may even need to be some reforms in the near future, which, by the way, we'll discuss more. Now, I do want to say this, so that way this video does not come off sounding like I'm just talking to be talking. We will be looking at the Navy's ad here soon. We will be looking at that one later on this week, and we'll also be looking at this thing that two Air Force, two officers, a colonel and a general who are in charge of Air Force overall recruiting. We're going to be discussing the problems that they're having. We're going to be doing that from behind the computer. Now, guys, I did tell you that I would be bringing up the ad that got me, the ad that actually got me to join the Corps. We'll be playing that here in a second. But the most important thing you have to do is you have to be able to project a certain, let's say you have to be able to project a certain aura for men, for young men that actually would inspire them to at least consider joining. And of course, you need to actually be out there doing some actual field work, actually getting to know the Marines or the potential Marines, your actual potential recruits. And you need to be going to high schools, not just high schools, but possibly to homes too. Marine recruiters, in my opinion, typically tend to do the best job because they know that's the smallest branch, so therefore they have to be a little bit more personable. That's just my personal opinion. But then again, though, at the same time, though, I can also recall being recruited by the Army too, the day that I was going to go take the ASVAB for the Marines because I was actually going to the National Guard Armory with my Marine recruiter, and I got pulled into an office by an Army guy who tried to recruit me outright. I didn't want to join the Army, and that's probably the main reason why I've always had a bit of an irking sensation. Forgive me, please. I was 18 years old. I still hold that grudge. However, the ad that actually got me, that actually pushed me to join, was this one here. Now, gang, I may sound a little bit biased here, and for good reason, obviously, as a United States Marine, and I obviously don't want to sound smug or anything, but the Marines normally produce the best ads. The Army produced very good ads with the whole be all you can be, and then all of a sudden it went to the whole Army of one thing, and I think it might have actually turned some people off from joining. Even though the Army has always been the biggest branch and the one with the highest recruiting numbers, you probably could have recruited a lot more if you'd gone back to the be all you can be tagline. It was a much, much better tagline, and for whatever reason, they did much, much better ads at that time. I think I touched on that a little bit in Tuesday's video. Now, this video right here is going to be released on Wednesday. Just figured I'd go ahead and throw that out there. But the Marine Corps has always prided itself, especially with its ad agency, at producing much, much better ads. I'm over here playing you guys one more ad in the cutaway, or trying to play you guys a compilation of ads. Me personally, I think that the one that they were, the very first one that I showed you, at least the one from 1970, that right there is what we call the OG ad, because when you join the Marines, what do you think? You think about the uniform, you think about the dress blues, you think about getting in really, really good physical shape, you think about women, you think about that type of stuff there. It's kind of like the allure, the few, the proud, almost like the Musketeers. We get to take your women, your heartbreakers and life takers. That right there is who the hell we are. Many people don't get that out of the Army, which I think is a little bit like they don't get enough respect. Of course, I'm not trying to piss anybody off as an Army. I'm just explaining the whole motif with the Marine Corps. Me personally, I thought that the ad was relatively solid. I'm glad to see that they're going away from the woke direction, because the woke direction, you got to understand, the wokies are people who more than likely would never fight for this country to begin with. They would much rather destroy it than actually defend it or serve it. And guys, with that right there being said, the review on the Navy ad, it will be coming out later on this week. Hopefully I'll have it out on Thursday, and this video here will be out on Wednesday. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you guys subscribe. Make sure you guys share the video and sign up in the comment section, and I'll see you guys later.
Excuse me. Excuse me, are you Santa Claus? I heard you might be him. If you are him, here's my list.
Help the Marines make Christmas possible for less fortunate children. Donate a new toy to Toys for Tots.